Oscar-nominated actor you know from shows like Party Down, A Big Little Lies, Parks and Rec, and Severance. He's currently starring in Hokum, which is in theaters nationwide May 1st. Let's take a look. Please welcome back to the show, Adam Scott. I mean, that's the scariest clip of the year.
That was scary.
That was a really scary clip.
I was just backstage watching it. I got super scared.
Yeah. We heard earlier today, I hadn't seen the clip yet, and I heard that when they showed it in the booth just during rehearsal, like a bunch of people screamed.
Dude, it's so scary. The first footage I saw from the movie was when I was doing ADR for the movie.
That's when you're recording sound for
You're recording sound, and there's a big screen in front of you showing you a scene. And the director, Damian McCarthy, just wanted me to do breathing sounds as I walked across the room.
Yeah.
Super simple. And so I'm like, okay, no problem. And I'm watching, and then this thing happens, and I go, ah, and jump. And he's so nice. He's like, yes, well, Adam, it's an interesting choice, but I just need you to breathe. And it's me. I'm in the mood. I remember doing that. It was not scary walking across that room.
Well, that's the craziest thing you do. When you film a horror movie, it's just a regular movie.
Yes.
It's not scary at all.
No.
But then, so when you saw, I also heard did you see it at South by Southwest with an audience?
That's right. And people were screaming in the audience. And then laughing at, like, having such a good time. It's so fun to see it with a bunch of people. And then I heard that in a sneak preview screening this past week, someone peed their pants. Wow. Yeah. So
it's like I mean, if you direct a horror movie and you hear that, you must be like,
oh, yeah. Money in the bank. I did it. If you want to pee while you're in your seat, go see Hokum.
Although you should always check with that person, be like, when was the last time you peed? They're like, last movie. Most movies.
That's right.
I just hate. I hate missing anything.
Love peeing when I'm seeing.
I just love. Most Pixar movies, pee myself during those.
Pee the whole time.
You actually had. So this is, I should say, what this movie is about. You are a writer who is basically staying in a hotel and inn.
Yeah, like out in the countryside in Ireland.
Yeah,
like a Stephen King type writer. And I'm there to spread my parents' ashes. And then stuff starts happening at this hotel.
You had a little bit of a background in horror movies in that your first film, was it true it was your first movie?
Yeah.
Hellraiser 4.
Hellraiser 4.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Were you a Hellraiser head before that?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't know about Hellraiser, but I was like, oh, this is an acting job? And so I was so excited.
This is like early in your little bit of Hellraiser. Things don't go great.
No.
Yeah. Now,
I think someone bites my face off.
Somebody bites your face off.
Yeah.
Now, they continued making Hellraisers on the backs of your great work in Hellraiser 4.
That's right.
You...
Yeah.
Again, things are going well for you now, but in our young acting days, sometimes they're a little lean between roles.
I had a tough time.
Hellraiser 6 rolls around.
Hellraiser 6 rolls around, and my agent sends an audition for Hellraiser 6.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now, wait a second. I was in Hellraiser 4.
Yeah. And I'm going to go way on a limb and say, this guy don't make it.
No, he does not make it. So, but I need a job.
Right.
So I'm like, screw it. And I go to the audition just thinking maybe they won't notice that I was in Hellraiser 4. And I remember being in the waiting room, kind of looking around, and seeing a door ajar to someone's office and seeing a producer from Hellraiser 4 in the office and just like holding my papers up, just like, okay, if he doesn't see me,
Yeah.
and they think I do a good job, maybe I'll get in Hellraiser 6 as well.
But it didn't come to pass.
No.
Yeah.
Like, what the?
But they did. But at the end, they were like, "We want you to know, it's not because you were in Hellraiser 4.
That's
we
right.
just didn't like your audition.
Did not like your acting.
That would never have stopped us.
That's right.
If
That's
you were
right.
good enough.
We don't care that you're in the other movie.
You could be in all the Hellraisers.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
You've had a very exciting time. Obviously, things have turned around for you. You were at the Cannes Series Festival.
Yeah.
This is a television festival in France,
Yeah.
and you were honored with an award.
Yep.
And it's very. Did you have to give a speech in French? Well, you can't speak French.
I cannot speak French, but I did give a speech, but they had like breaks in the speech for translation. So
Right.
like every few sentences, I had to stop, and someone else would start talking with a microphone in the middle of the stage, and then they would finish, and I'd be like, okay. But it was like a career
Yeah.
award. So I was going through everybody. I was like, and thank you to Mike Schur and Amy Poehler. And she's like, bonsoir. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know
will
if you
say,
can tell,
like,
but
I
can't
feel
speak
like
French.
thank you to Mike Schur and Amy Poehler is pretty close.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
they should have let you just go with that.
Right, because they're just like
Yeah.
something, Mike Schur and Amy Poehler.
You got they announced your roles, some of your roles, and Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec.
Sure.
I also like that they consider two of your roles innie and outie.
That's
Those
right.
are two of your.
That's right.
But here's hearing this with a French accent was delightful.
Yeah.
Let's take a listen.
Adam,
No, it's
Adam.
Adam Scott.
I like that they're like, is it innie, outie? Is that Ben White? No, it's him.
I like to an audience that's like at a television festival. They're all like, "We
right.
know how TV works."
Right.
You got to do hands in. So this is hands in sort of cement.
That's right. But
like a Walk of Fame.
The funny thing is, it's not actually cement, it's clay.
Okay.
So I put my hands down on, and this is on the beach. I put my hands on the clay, and it's like, it's pretty, it's not particularly porous. It's like a harder surface. And so there's another person there with gloves on who's there just to push
do
my fingers.
like a press. Yeah.
It's like she's giving my hands CPR.
Yeah. Very strange.
Very nice French lady with
Very
the black
nice.
gloves.
I'm so glad that because when I first saw this picture, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, Adam has no wrist strength.
Yeah, his hands have absolutely
Yeah,
no
but
presence.
now that I know that if she already has gloves, they're doing this
Yeah.
for everybody, right?
Yeah, they're doing it forever. And it's not just me.
Yeah.
Because I know what I'm doing with my hands.
Yeah, no. I've seen you press your hands
Right?
down on
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
We've all
like
seen it.
I've seen you leave marks in wood. I was like, what's going
100%.
on? You also your European adventures continued. You met a pope. You met
Yeah.
the Pope.
I met the Pope.
The Pope. How do you
The Pope that starts with Donald Trump.
Yeah, you got the real.
It's the best Pope.
Chicago Pope. Chicago
Yeah,
Pope.
man.
So how is it? How did you get an invitation to meet the Pope?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it was like an invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, the Pope would like to meet you. And I was like, really?
And like, you weren't like at the Vatican. Like this was like you fly to the Vatican and meet the
Yeah.
Pope. Wow.
Yeah, and it was wild. I went, and Allison Brie and Dave Franco were
Great.
also going, and we wwe're like, great, we'll all go together. So we get in a cab, we go over, and we don't really know. It's Italy, and
Yeah.
there's no real organization to
No.
anything. So we're not sure exactly where to go, and so we just kind of drive around the Vatican till we see a small crowd of famous people
Right.
by a door, because
Yeah.
we know it's a bunch of people going to meet the Pope. And so we're like, I guess we get out here, and we get out, and there's like Judd Apatow and Chris Pine, and we're like, yeah, this is probably the group.
Yeah.
And we get out, and we're like, is this where? And everyone's like, I think so. And then at some point, a couple people come out, like a cardinal and a couple of guys, and they're like, come on in. And we just walk into the Vatican. There was no like patting me down or It was just just like glided right into the Vatican and walked through like the guts of the Vatican, which is so confusing and crazy and beautiful. And then eventually they bring us into a room, and then there's the Pope.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
he's just right there.
I can't.
I still didn't know why I was there.
Yeah.
There he was.
And he refused to tell you.
No, he would not. He was very quiet.
What do you like? What's the moment after you meet the Pope? Like, because you each meet the Pope one at a time, right? It's not like a chat session.
He made a speech, which was lovely, about like movies, and we need to keep our movie theaters open and
Great.
community. Yeah, absolutely. And then people started lining up to go meet him. And so Allison and Dave and I get in line, and we're just chit-chatting, and Allison and I started talking about auditions or something. I don't even remember. We were just like, and having a good time. And then suddenly I turn, and I'm like one person away from the Pope, and I'm like, oh my God, what do we do? Are we supposed to say something to him? Like, and Allison's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so there's a cardinal here, which is the guy that kind of checks you before you go to the Pope, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, does he talk? Like, do we talk? What do I do?
Sure.
And he's like, I don't know.
I really like that the takeaway is like nobody in Italy has answers. That's like you're like, hey, where's the door to the Vatican? They're like, nobody knows.
No one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Good luck. Good
Just
luck.
Go get
I hope
some
you make it.
spaghetti. Have a good time.
Very cool. It's so exciting to see you. I know you're about to start shooting Severance season 3. Let me just say how excited I am about that. You guys, Adam Scott, Hokum is in theaters nationwide May 1st. We'll be right back with more Late Night.